What up, people? What's good? Salute.
Yes, sir.
Yo, what's good, everybody? Salute to the tribe. We're hip hop and comics and hip hop. We're a niche channel. Reserved for the best. It's super dope. I do sell comics. Check me out on Instagram at @6th_element_comics. Yeah, because comic books are the sixth element of hip hop. What's up, y'all? It's the Reno Noir, the sixth element of hip hop. This is my co-host right here, Stu Dog. What's up, Stu?
Peace.
Got the Matrix going nuts behind me here. Let me get drop up out of the Matrix right quick. You know what I'm saying? Take the blue pill. All right. We back. We here. It's DC Power Hour. Stu, you had some stuff, man, because it's DC Day. DC, you know, we talk about DC comics and all DC related things on this day. But today is also Dr. Dre's birthday.
Wouldn't have known. I would have never known.
I wouldn't have known. And a lot of people wouldn't have known. So that's what we're gonna do. And I thought we always do like a show, a tribute when one of our legends dies. You know what I'm saying? We always talk about giving them their flowers while they're here. So we should do tributes on their birthdays, not just their death days. You know, and it's just we just saying what's up to Dr. Dre, man. Salute Slade, what's good? Peace. But Dr. Dre, you know, he's been a huge very integral. I mean, we'd have no Kendrick Lamar, we'd have no 50 Cent, no Eminem, no DOC,
Easy,
no, you know what I'm saying?
DE.
Ice Cube, maybe. You know, hey, it's a lot.
Yeah,
It's a lot.
MC Ren.
Yeah. The list goes on. I mean, it's pretty much endless. You know, Dre, you know, he's been a mogul since the beginning, but he's had his hands so deep in all facets of the industry. You know what I'm saying? Even with the Beats headphones and shit. But you know, definitely one of the most influential figures in hip hop. Living legend Dr. Dre. Not only was he the first rap billionaire before Jay or anybody, but he was also instrumental part, you know, in creation of the genre known as G-Funk. I would say that he definitely helped catapult gangster rap into the mainstream for sure. Andre Romel Young, born in Compton on this day, February 18th, 1965. He was the first child born to Theodore and Verna Young. His father had a history in music and was a member of the amateur R&B group The Romels, from which Dre gets his middle name. That's why he's Andre Romel Young. And then 1986 is when he meets Ice Cube, at the time O'Shea Jackson, and while, you know, collaborating on some music for Ruthless Records, it goes back. You know, Ruthless Records was a famous record label founded by Eazy-E and Ice-T, actually, and these two are widely, you know, credited with starting the gangster rap movement on the West Coast. And this sort of meeting and the addition of MC Ren sort of birthed one of the most influential groups of all time, obviously, NWA. And after that disagreement that he has with Eazy-E, Dre decides to leave NWA to build his musical empire. And, you know, due to advice given to him by his close friend and fellow rapper, the DOC, and his bodyguard, Suge Knight, at the time, Dre became the flagship artist of his Death Row Records, and which was a label started by Suge Knight in 1992. And then Dre released his first solo album that you all see on the thumbnail, The Chronic. Definitely one of the top my top 5 hip hop albums of all time, easily. And Death Row Records. And this album really cemented Dr. Dre's place as one of the top, you know, rappers out of Cali. If there was any confusion before, but while working with Death Row, Dre produced the majority of the new artist Snoop Dogg his music, which helped him rise to superstardom. And then he did Pac's couple of Pac tracks, and who's also a label member. But yeah, I mean, Snoop Dogg is another. I can't believe I didn't mention Snoop Dogg. You know, that's Dr. Dre right there. I could say Snoop Dogg saved Dr. Dre because that's what Dre would say. And then in 1996 is when he has the disagreement with Suge. You know what I'm saying? They sort of have their falling out, and Dre leaves Death Row and builds Aftermath Records. You remember that shit? Remember he was tucked up doing the tango?
Yeah,
Had the
yeah.
suit on, was doing the tango in the video. I remember that shit clear as day. I was like, "Wow, this is different." It's like back then we couldn't really, especially like as young kids, like, you know, in the middle of the gangster rap era, we just we couldn't sort of relate, I guess, to that level that he was at, and we saw it as a soft thing, but really, you know, we would come to grow up and find out that he was more boss than ever, and that was some dope shit. But it just was a little early for the time, maybe. But that changed the path of his career forever. And the growth began when Interscope Records, Jimmy Iovine suggests that Dre signs this white rapper Eminem. Actually, he doesn't tell him he's a white rapper at first. He gives him the music. Dre's like been listening to this music nonstop. He can't get enough of it. And he calls Jimmy. He's like, "Yo, man, what are we gonna do with this guy? Like, get this Eminem guy over here, man. This is crazy." And Jimmy's like, "You know, he's a white dude, right?" And Dre said he was like blown away. He couldn't believe it, which I don't understand. I hear Eminem and I automatically know he's white, but I don't know. Dre was apparently dumbfounded. But the success of Eminem's music obviously made Dre one of, you know, it really, you know, catapulted him, made him one of the more respected like producers and what do you call them? You know, moguls in hip hop. Sada, what's up? Welcome.
Hello, hello.
Talking about Dr. Dre. So then he becomes one of the most powerful moguls in the game. And then he's set to release his third album, which is called Detox in 2007. You know, which this he decided not to do. Instead, you know, producing other artists and whatnot. But well, you know, I guess I skipped Chronic. Okay, the Chronic 2000. So he does the Chronic 2000, right? In 99 drops the Chronic 2000. That was crazy. That album was dope to me. That shit is up there, man. That shit is really a good album. It's not the Chronic, but it's phenomenal. It definitely let us know that Dre was still here and he was still making dope beats, making great music, and definitely had the respect of the gangster rap culture. And since then, since Detox, he's mainly been behind the scenes. We haven't seen much of him. He's not, and probably for the best. Um, I don't really want to see him, you know, trying to be a rapper, a gangster rapper, and he's much more than that. You know, he recently made the uber successful NWA biopic Straight Outta Compton, which has created a rise in NWA support from a new generation. His third studio album, Compton, was released shortly after the film and finally ended the long wait for more work from Dre. Basically, the life and career of Dr. Dre have been able to make rap and hip hop what they are today. Without his influence, who knows where rap music would be? But like we said, man, from everybody, you know, from Dre to M to 50 to Kendrick Lamar. I mean, the list goes on. And what's his name? Anderson Paak. Like it's just a lot of people that we would have never had, man. He yeah, what I say is his son of Theodore and Verna Young. He has a sister named Shamika and two brothers, Tyree and Jerome. And then I think it was Tyree that got killed, wasn't it? When he was young. He got killed and that fucked Dre up. Yeah, he also, you know, obviously we know Dre's done a lot of movies too. He did The Wash, he was involved with Training Day and you know, working with Denzel and them. He always wanted to be a director. That's really what he wanted to be into. And which was dope. I always found that cool. I always liked that about Dre because I always wanted to be a director too, and that shit just always sat well with me. Gets a Grammy in 1994. Yeah, man. Shout out Dr. Dre, man. Happy birthday, Dr. Dre. It's Dre Day.
Don't forget he was in Set It Off too. Remember he was the one giving them the guns and all that.
Yeah, yeah. What's his name? Black Sam.
Yeah.
Black Sam. Dre is gangster rap. I like it. So yeah, y'all, it is DC Power Hour, and I got this is a little this is what they gave us for the Joker 2, the movie. It's like some little thing. It came out a couple of weeks ago. Let me run this for y'all real quick and tell me what y'all think. They don't give us much, but it definitely gonna be an art film. You know, it's not. This is not. Don't look for this to be any sort of like superhero movie or anything like that. Definitely art film. But I think it could be cool for what it is.
I know we have the picture that they posted on Valentine's Day of it was Gaga as Harley Quinn and the Joker. They were like caressing each other's faces.
Yeah,
So other than that, that's all we really have for the movie. It's just not a lot
yeah,
to go on, so I don't really feel any kind of way about it.
yeah,
So I'm interested to see her in more makeup, to see what she'll actually look like as Harley Quinn. Because she's the most interesting part of the film so far. Because I
yeah,
am done with Margot Robbie's rendition of Harley Quinn, so I'm interested to see her rendition of Harley Quinn.
yeah, yeah. Me too. Me too. And there's I guess there's 5 Elseworld that we're calling Elseworlds movies that they've got out there. They've got the Blue Beetle coming, Joker, 2. Um, there's the Batman Part 2, and what Constantine Part 2 is coming,
Oh, I thought that
and
was canceled. That's still going.
it's back.
Snap!
Yeah, yeah. And then Tanahashi Coates' Superman is still happening. The Black Superman
Oh,
movie.
jeez.
And but yeah, that's what's going on right now. They Elseworlds is what they're calling it. Obviously, DC Comics developed stories since 1942 Superman cartoon hero that were outside the DC universe's main continuity, initially titled Imagery or Imaginary Stories. And though it was adapted into the Elseworlds imprint from 1989's Gotham by Gaslight onwards. From that, and so the imprint shared similarities with Marvel Comics' What If series, but and both of which explored alternate storylines, often placing established heroes in different time periods, like Gotham by Gaslight, featuring the Victorian era Batman story, and then CW did some Elseworld stories for the Arrowverse, and a feature films that are separate from the DCEU had started to be released as Elseworlds projects before the reshuffle at DC Studios, and they are not set to continue in the new DC universe after. Gunn takes over. But
Get a taste of the trap.
I don't know why that
Yeah.
keeps playing like that.
Of
But yeah,
all of the ones that you mentioned, the one I don't really want is the Ta-Nehisi Coates Superman. That's the one I
no,
absolutely positively don't want. The
don't.
rest, I'm at least interested in.
Yeah, yeah. That one was first announced in 2021, and Ta-Nehisi, he had plans to direct the Superman film featuring a Black Man of Steel for DC for a number of years. And though not much is known about the project other than the fact that it's a black Superman, and Gunn didn't mention this in his DC Universe announcement, but Coates' film is still in active development. And in January this year, Variety reported that both Gunn and Safran are, in fact, waiting patiently for a draft of Coates' screenplay. And it could be assumed that Ta-Nehisi Coates' Black Superman project will also be a DC Elseworlds project, especially since Superman Legacy is set to introduce a new version, of Superman to the DCU continuity. I'm pretty excited for the Constantine one, just because I'm like, I guess I don't, excited isn't the word. Most interested to see what they're gonna do with that Constantine one. One of the more obscure choices for a DC Elseworlds project, coming in the form of the highly anticipated sequel to the Keanu Reeves movie, and it is a sequel to the '05 Constantine. It is it's unusual, as Constantine released long before the start of the DCU. It wasn't really part of it in the first place, but and a lot of people, many had resigned themselves to never seeing a sequel. But Constantine 2 was officially reported to be in development in September of 2022, with Keanu Reeves set to return as John Constantine. And Gunn neglected to reveal anything about this movie, obviously, during his announcement, but it is confirmed to be still in development. And so it might most likely will be an Elseworlds project. And I
Oh
always
boy.
thought Keanu was a weird choice for that character, but
Yeah, I don't really think it needed a sequel. I think it only has a sequel because of Keanu Reeves. But
yeah.
he just never fit Constantine to me. The guy who played him on the CW nailed him. So I wouldn't have
Yeah.
mind if he came over, but you
Right.
know, it is what it is. I'm like the least interested in that, but that's just because I've never been interested in Constantine. So that's like a whole.
Mm. I like Constantine as a character. I like the idea of it. I don't know a whole lot about it, but I guess when I say interested, curious is a better word. That's the one I'm most curious about.
Mhm.
But again, yeah, the British dude, the blonde hair guy. I mean, Keanu is just nothing like the character, but that's probably right. You're probably right. That's the only reason we're getting that. And I don't think it should be a sequel myself. I'd just like to see a good Constantine movie be made. That would be cool. But the Batman, originally, was supposed to be a solo film for Ben Affleck. The Batman was reworked under Matt Reeves as a DC Elseworld project, and it debuted Robert Pattinson as the more grounded detective style, version of Bruce Wayne, in a story that found him teaming up with Zoe Kravitz, Selena Kyle as Catwoman, and to uncover the corruption and all that, chasing after the Riddler, and you had Penguin in there. But unlike Joker, which was intended to be a standalone film, the Batman was always apparently planned to kickstart a new shared universe outside the DC universe, with 2 sequels planned and 2 spin-off series already in works at HBO Max. And the sequels and the spin-offs, they're still in development at DC Studios, but will continue to be released under the Elseworlds label. And this especially is important to categorize as a new Batman-centric film is planned for Chapter 1 of the DCU as well. The Brave and the Bold, which will get, a new Batman, not Ben Affleck, to team up with his son, Damian Wayne, aka Robin, in the new story, and will also introduce other members of the Bat family into the franchise, something that previous DC Studios projects have tended to avoid. And of course, Reeves will continue to release projects in his self-proclaimed Batverse along the DCU. And we love that movie, so hopefully they just keep more of that up. It'll be good. The monumental success of Todd Phillips' 2019 Joker definitely sort of paved the way for a sequel. That's probably was inevitable, but that could totally go hit or miss. That could go either way. This movie could totally be a flop, or it could be amazing. Again, we'll see. Blue Beetle.
That could go either way.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about Blue Beetle. I mean, I'm definitely interested. I just am I feeling compelled to go pay to see it? No, not at all. Not right now.
Well, for those who don't know, Blue Beetle, immediately succeeding The Flash, is coming out August 18th, 2023. You got the story of Jamie Reyes, played by Zolo Mandarina, Murray Duena. I don't know how to say it. I'm sorry, but it's a teenager who gains superpowers after an alien blue beetle grafts itself onto him and gives him a powerful exoskeleton suit. And Blue Beetle was announced to be in development back in November of 2018. And while the film is billed for release as part of the DC universe, the storyline is separate enough that Blue Beetle can be an Elseworld project. Gunn even confirmed that Blue Beetle is totally disconnected, which will allow the new superhero to have his own space to breathe, I guess, while the major changes go on at DC. Maybe he'll survive it, into the new whatever. But Blue Beetle is one of 4 already developed projects that will be releasing in 2023 before the major shakeup to the DC universe, along with Shazam: Fury of the Gods, The Flash, and the Aquaman movie, The Lost Kingdom. So it's unclear what the future is going to hold, beyond that for Blue Beetle. And it'll depend on the success of the movie. Obviously, having a Latino superhero is something they want, so they will, push it if it's good.
With Vita Coco's fight with.
No, you don't. Speaking of Shazam, Fury of the Gods, I think I have the trailer, or like this one trailer. Let's see. Let's check this out.
We will annihilate everything. Champions of this realm can do nothing to stop us.
You are very menacing. I just want you to know that. A lot has changed.
Oh yeah, we saw that one. Yeah, that's good. This looks really good. This animated joint. Check this out.
Doom. The great doom is coming. The sins of the Father are heaped upon the Son.
You have no clue the power this book possesses.
I know those who seek it mean to do this city harm. Before it can be truly saved, Gotham must be burned to the ground.
Talking dead folks, reptile plagues, it's not natural.
Metragon.
It's a cult that has long ties to Gotham.
Spirits will come to us now.
I can't pretend to know exactly.
I like that suit.
But I do know I must stop it.
We know to give this city purpose and honor.
Oh hell yeah!
For it.
Mercy.
I hope McFarlane makes a figure of that suit, that Batman.
What's happening to you? What needs to happen? Bruce Wayne must die. And from death, become the city's savior. Hello, Bruce. It can't be.
Doom that came to Gotham. I like that suit, man. I hope Todd McFarlane Multiverse makes a figure of that suit.
Oh yeah, I can see that happening.
Yeah, that would be fucking cool. Stu Dog.
What's up?
What's up, man? You ain't said a word all show. What's going on with you, baby? You good?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah,
Just chilling,
yeah.
just check shit out.
It's nothing to
Check this.
say. It's nothing to say, man. Just man, just
I
keep
got
it
something for
moving.
you. I got something for you. Check this out. This shit is dope. Here we go. So they're doing the Dark Knight series at McFarlane Multiverse. Got the Dark Knight trilogy wave.
Oh.
Yeah, it's
I
busting out.
saw those,
Surprised they
man.
never tapped into that until now.
Me too.
Well, since they handed it over to McFarlane, he's been going crazy with it. He's been doing everything
Oh,
he can do.
Yeah, yeah. He's gone nuts.
He just did an Aquaman one. Did you see the Aquaman one where he did the whole Aquaman
Yeah.
series? He did Ocean Master. And
ooh.
Black Manta looks dope.
The
Black
page
Manta
punch
looks
is
so
Black
dope.
Manta. Looks phenomenal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he looks phenomenal. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely want that one. Yeah. Yep. But there's some dope shit out there.
Mhm.
Some dope McFarlane figures coming.
Yeah, he's
The
got a lot coming, man. He's just blowing my mind with some of the stuff he's putting out.
real.
Seriously, yeah, like I'm really messed up over some of the stuff he's putting out, bro.
Oh, I messed up.
Real.
Yeah, cause it's like you turn around, like every time I go on my computer, this stuff just keeps popping in my Google feed, and I go and then Reno's sending me stuff, and then I'm just blown away, man. I'm like, yeah, what is like, keep up the good work.
Your
Like it's
cart is
just,
gonna be stacked.
I know, I know. I'm just like, damn, I don't even know
Yeah.
I can't even get it all. I was like, where am I gonna put it? I'm running out of space.
For real. Especially at my Walmart, bro. They got you go in my Walmart, you'll be mad if you ain't got enough money. Because they have everything. It's all there. It's going
My,
I'm
Wal-
just like
my Walmart looks like a demilitarized zone. Going
Oh
there,
God.
stuff's thrown all over the place, right?
I'm just I'm just in there looking around like, oh, kid in the candy store. But Sada, you gonna love this. That ring.
Yes, the
That
ring is
ring
very
is
nice.
peak. It is dope. It is really
My
dope.
favorite part of the whole trailer was the ring.
It's about damn time. Yeah, the first trailer has been released. We see the Ezra Miller's, Flash, but uh the Flash, they got a closer look here at this Flash ring, and fans who might have overlooked this detail can get a better look at it. They did a tweet dedicated to the Flash movie, what reveals the ring bears the same lightning bolt emblem as the one on the chest of his suit. And isn't his suit supposed to come out of the ring?
Yeah, that's his suit.
Yes,
Yeah,
That's
that's the
his
I
suit
suit.
that's in
mean,
there. Yeah,
that's what I thought. Like, I hope that's what they're doing with it. Makes but yeah, Flash is supposed to reset the DC timeline and clear the way for the new DC. But I don't know,
they're gonna
man.
be.
I hope they
From what
pull
I've
that
been
ring out.
reading, they're really gonna be pushing Supergirl
Yeah.
and Jonathan Kent. Um,
Yeah, because those are the ones that are
they're,
gonna last in the that
yeah,
are gonna continue on in
they're
DC after
really,
this movie.
yeah,
Sorry,
They're really gonna push John Kent. John Kent is gonna be our Superman. Who's gonna play him? I don't know, but
yeah.
that's gonna be the Superman we get. Um, I just got done watching Legion of Superheroes, and that actually has a post-credit scene that sets up Justice League War World, which is one of
Oh,
the upcoming films that's part of the
yes.
DCU, the new
Mhm.
DCU. Um, which means we'll see Mongol.
Oh,
But we see Mongal. Mongal was in Suicide
who?
Squad, the second Suicide Squad. Mongal,
Mongal?
Mongol's daughter. Yeah,
Oh,
Mongo
Oh
has a
my
daughter named
right.
Mongal.
God. Oh
Right.
yes.
She
I was
was
like, who are you talking about?
yes, she killed then she killed Captain Boomerang.
Mm.
Um and then she died. She was in Suicide Squad. So we'll probably be seeing Mongol. And another rumor that's hot off the press on the streets right now, digitally, is Gus taking over as the new Flash. And
Hey, look,
supposedly
I'm here for
another and I know
Yeah.
I was getting ready to say, Sada, you're gonna get your wish. Another rumor, I don't know how true it is. I really don't, but it is a
Yeah.
rumor, so don't
Just
quote me on
rumors,
it.
just fans
Don't
talking.
stamp me on it. Don't stamp me
I'm
on
not
this.
stamping. I'm
But
just saying I'm here for
but
it.
another rumor that I've been reading from a couple of different sources is that somehow he's in this movie. Gus is in
Yeah,
this
I
movie
heard that.
somehow, somewhere.
He
Yeah.
might make a
I don't
cameo.
know where. Yeah, I don't know where. I don't know when. I mean, I don't even know how because they reshot this movie just to put Supergirl in it and take Henry Cavill out of it.
Yeah.
After they
Mhm.
reshot to put Henry Cavill in it, and that it's
The
so I
reach.
don't. Yeah, they just keep reshooting and reshooting and reshooting it. So we're gonna see what happens with that. World will be dope, and
Yes.
hopefully
Yeah,
Mongol is the big bad this time instead of Darkseid. It would make more sense. It would be more it would be more of like what they said if they want to do what Marvel did with the Marvel universe. It would be more on par with that, with them having Mongol instead of Darkseid, because Darkseid's big. He's really
because
really
Mongo's
really.
not a as powerful or as big as a dark side by a long shot, right? He's more of like a
No, he's a
lower
big
level.
deal.
No,
He's a
no, no.
big
Yeah,
deal.
he's kind
No,
of
he's a
big.
big
He's
deal.
not as big as
He's kind of big.
Darkseid, but
No, not
he's
as
big.
big as
Yeah.
Darkseid, but he's about Thanos level,
Yeah.
and he has
And that's
World.
appropriate. I think that's definitely
Well,
appropriate.
Yeah,
I'd say
and this
Thanos and
summer,
Darkseid are pretty equally yoked.
yeah, and this summer, DC did a comic. They did it was called Superman and World or something like that,
Mongo's
and
more
they
like
really pushed that all summer. They pushed that a lot all summer. So I wouldn't be surprised if they
yeah.
went with that because I just keep hearing it. They just keep talking about it, and you just keep hearing it. So it's gonna something's gonna happen. A lot of people they're getting a lot of backlash already with
Oh no.
the was it Connor Kent, the um Superman's son. They're getting a lot of backlash with that already because nobody wants to see him as Superman. They just don't think he's interesting enough as a character.
Oh, John Kent, or you're
John
talking about?
Kent, yeah, John Kent. A lot of
Yeah.
people they're getting a lot of backlash about that.
Yeah, because nobody
Um,
cares about John Kent. He's not a character. Nobody cares about him.
and then you got his sexuality that comes into play, where DC kind of messed. It's a lot right now with that, and fans are gonna if or when James gonna announce, fans are gonna lose. They're gonna lose their shit, man.
Yeah, they're
It's
gonna
gonna
lose their
be
shit. The fact that Damien is coming, John Kent is right behind. I don't, people
exactly,
be ready,
exactly,
be freaking ready.
exactly. Now, and we know that it's been confirmed that Damien's coming, so we know we gotta
Exactly,
get Damien.
John's
So we
right
got it.
there.
Yeah. So John's right there. Yeah. And so in the comics, they're best friends. So
Exactly. So
right.
it's
So
cool.
it would make a lot of sense to see them two together. And I really think James Gunn is gonna push it because we need. I read a an article about sometime last year, and it asked the question, and even asking you guys the question: do you guys think it's time for other heroes to be pushed to the forefront other than Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman?
Oh yeah, of course. But at the same time, you have to get Batman,
I do it
Superman,
right.
Wonder Woman right first because they are
Yeah.
the foundation. And if you don't get that right, it's just hard to bring in these other characters and expect people to care about them. It's just that is what it is. So
That's
yeah,
true.
I would love other heroes to get the forefront. But the
Yeah.
fact of the matter is they just haven't gotten the Trinity right so far. So. Ugh. Well, they
Yeah,
got like
I
a
would.
couple right, but not all three. So
Yeah. If they get them all, I mean, yeah, Aquaman, Wonder Woman, Flash, Superman, Batman, Green Lantern. Those are the core guys that we gotta get. They gotta
right,
do them. But yes, like I can't wait to see, Swamp Thing stuff and like the lesser, I don't want to say lesser known, but just not the bigger characters. I mean, people know who Swamp Thing is, but yeah, but like So at a panel in the DC fandom in China, the Flash director Andy Muschietti and Ezra Miller and Barbara Muschietti, who's the co-producer, got together and basically revealed that we can expect some more exciting surprises from this movie. Well, he said we can tell you there are surprises. We cannot reveal what they are, but it will probably blow your socks off. And he refused to go into territory of spoilers, saying the less we talk about, the better. There's excitement behind the camera about those surprises. You better not know them until you see them on the big screen. Obviously, but yeah, and then Ezra points out by saying he added, "If we told you, it wouldn't be a surprise." Obviously, but the Flash, this movie spent a lot of years in development, a lot of years.
Yeah,
Development
too many.
hell.
Yeah, writers,
Over a
directors,
decade.
coming, going. Yeah, exactly. And numerous setbacks. But it's finally going to come out in April, I guess. Or no, that's when it was supposed to come out in April. But yeah, Miller, Barry Allen, not a great setup. So already it's doomed, in my opinion. But we'll see, man. The trio wasn't spilling any secrets at all, but they were just saying how there's a lot of surprises that have not yet been, that people haven't known, that don't know yet. So the stuff that we're talking about, apparently there's more that we haven't talked about. And the Flash, the Superwoman star, Sasha Cale, celebrated the release of the movie. And I think she said
I'm sure she did. She probably didn't think that joke
She
was gonna hit
fucking-
theaters.
yeah, bro. She's but yeah, she's sharing her excitement for everyone to see her version of Supergirl. And she shared her reaction to the trailer, expressing her love for the Girl of Steel, and she opened up about her experience playing Kara Danvers in the movie, describing it as one of the greatest honors of her life. Kara Danvers, isn't that a little close to Carol Danvers?
Yeah, I think they went with that name in the CW show. I think Kara Danvers. Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
like her Earth name. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty.
It's always been her name. It's
Yeah,
always
that's
been
all.
Karen.
Yeah, right. Okay, I was like, all right, I'm not tripping. Yeah,
I knew it was Kara, but I thought it was like Kara L or some shit.
nah. Her Earth name Danvers. Yeah,
Yeah.
I have no
Because
problem.
remember,
Oh,
people
go
from Krypton only have 3-letter first names and 2-letter last names.
Right.
They all have. So it's only 3 letters, then 2 letters.
Oh.
Right.
Yeah, but it's definitely
Because her real name is Kara Zor-El.
That's what it is, Zor-El. Okay,
Yes.
Kara Zor-El,
Yeah,
right?
which is Zor-El, but it's
Yeah.
just
Right.
I have no problem
because
with
you
the
got
actress who plays.
yeah, because you got Kal El, Mon El, and even Mon El changed his name to Mon El because he was a big fan of Kal El and what he was doing on Earth. So
That's
he
why he
changed
did
his
that.
name.
Oh,
Yes.
I didn't.
Yeah.
That.
Mm.
Okay.
And yeah, and when we did get, speaking of Wonder Woman, and we did get the big announcement from Gunn, and he announced that large slate of the projects, and one of those projects that he talked about was Paradise Lost, and that'll be a live action series about the Amazons of Themyscira, also known as Paradise Island, and it's a series described essentially as a Game of Thrones, but with Themyscira. It's implied that while the new show is part of the overall DC cinematic universe, it will likely take place chronologically before the events of the other installments. Probably some arcane, ancient shit going on. But it remains unclear if any actors who previously portrayed Amazons in either of the Wonder Woman or Justice League films would be reprising roles. But it's also unknown which comic book runs will inform the show's storyline. So, at best, there is one comic run from 2001 of the same name that depicts a civil war between the tribes of the Amazon women. And as a result, an elected council of the government is installed to replace the monarchy. And the comic series is contemporary and features Wonder Woman, but the upcoming TV series won't feature her. actual Wonder Woman is not in this show. Still, the announcement of the Game of Thrones premise seems to have set up the series upon the wrong foot by presenting deeply flawed concept right out of the gate. That's not gonna be. I don't think anyone's gonna be really into a movie, into a show about the place Wonder Woman's from without Wonder Woman. It's like having
Right.
Gotham without Batman. I don't. You got to be a
It's just like
super fan of Wonder Woman to like this. I think. I'm sorry. What did you
yeah,
say, Sam?
like for real, for real. Like Gotham kind of, they could skate by with that because the Rogues Gallery is so
Right.
well known and everything, and you could get
Right.
away with it for a couple years. But Wonder Woman, you can't do that. You need her there. And the fact that she's not
Yeah.
there in the first chapter is just so bizarre. So I
Right.
don't know how that's gonna
And she
go.
doesn't. Like, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know, but I can't think of like a Wonder Woman Rogues Gallery. She doesn't have like a famous.
I mean,
villain.
Cheetah.
Like, who are her famous Cheetah? Right. Okay. Who else?
Giganta,
Yeah,
Giganta.
Giganta.
Zeus.
Never heard of that
Gods,
one.
yeah. Zeus.
Oh, the
Yeah, she's
the
Zeus.
god.
Remember Zeus? Zeus.
I mean, I know
Hercules. Yeah,
Aries.
Zeus, Hercules, Aries.
Wow.
Who else?
And those
what's
they
her
have
name?
DC versions of those.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Because there was a comic I read one time where Hercules was just wreaking havoc. He beat up Superman, knocked off the Justice League, and then Ares went. They somehow they tied up Billy Batson because Billy Batson has the power of all the gods, and they sent. Well, Ares went somehow because Ares is kind of like with the gods. He's kind of like a troublemaker. So Ares goes and he frees. They had Billy Batson tied up in a room, and he goes and he cuts. Billy Batson had his mouth gag. He goes and takes the gag off. Billy Batson says Shazam. Flies out, beats up Hercules, just murders Hercules, and just beat him to a pulp. And then he said the difference between me and you is I'm not a murderer. So he left Hercules there. Corey Adger. He left Hercules there, to be humiliated. He picks up Superman and he's like, look, you can't handle Hercules. Because Shazam has the strength of Hercules. So then Zeus came down and humbled everybody. He came down and humbled Shazam, Superman, all of them. And there was nothing. So they are gods and they have their god.
But she doesn't. But there's no like really popular Wonder Woman villains that really the public knows, right? Well, the Cheetah.
Yeah, we know. Well, we know.
I
We
mean,
know
She has
Giganta.
popular villains. But
Yeah.
for this show, I don't know if any of them would
Right.
fit in the show. But she has them.
Right.
I just don't think they would
Right.
fit in this show.
Okay.
Cause
Okay.
Captain
definitely.
Wonder is another one that I can think of.
But I mean, like, okay.
Cersei's another famous one. Cersei's another real
Oh
famous
yes. Cersei. How do we forget about
Yeah,
Cersei? Yeah,
Cersei.
Cersei's a good one. She could
There's a
fit.
Cersei
That's
in Marvel, and there's a
Cyborg,
Cersei
and they even have a cyborg girl that fought one down. That's like a Wonder Woman.
But like
Cersei
the
could
public, most people know about the Joker. Most people know about
Right.
even Mr. Freeze. Most people know about the Riddler and stuff like that. So getting these, it's just really hard to do a Wonder Woman show without Wonder Woman because she doesn't have these major iconic, like you could do a movie called Joker without Batman in it and people would see it. That's how big the Joker is. What I mean is
Right.
Wonder Woman doesn't have any of those level bad guys that could carry a movie without her in it.
Right.
And
Like
no.
I mean like her
No.
villains they wouldn't fit in the show without her.
Right.
They
Right.
wouldn't work.
Yeah.
Another thing,
Yeah, and then
Game of Thrones- Go ahead.
most of them got their powers as a direct result of Wonder Woman or something that had to do with her. Like,
Yeah. So
yeah, like
I
Right.
don't know. how
Yeah, that's gonna be
work.
tough. Game of Thrones definitely one of the most popular shows ever made, despite the controversies. The depiction of the female characters in Game of Thrones was always a hot button issue when discussing not only the source material but the adaptation as well. And that's another thing I'm wondering. They keep like Game of Thrones kind of has this sort of reputation for having like a lot of sex and sexual content, which really I thought took sort of a backseat in my opinion, but it's what people sort of notice. But it's a fantasy series that can introduce dragons and magic, but insists on including realism as an excuse to perpetuate patriarchal values in a way that disproportionately traumatizes and victimizes the show's female characters. End quote. That's what they say. But in fact, the adaptation goes out of its way to perpetuate the inequality and violence faced by women. For example, after Joffrey's assassination, you had Jaime Lannister rapes Cersei by their son's dead body by the tomb. Right in the book, it's consensual. The show made it a rape, and the patriarchy is an essential tool of the narrative as it dictates and criticizes the roles that women are forced to play in a society who neither values or respects them. And by contrast, Wonder Woman's creator, William Marsden, created a society that exists outside of a patriarchal structure, right? So there's some flaws in his execution, of course, but Marsden still conceptualized Paradise Island as the birthplace of an empowered female hero and the home place of the thriving Amazon culture. And Paradise Island, right, is supposed to be an opportunity for women to exist without the patriarchal constraints that permeate most real and fictional societies. Reducing Paradise Island to just another version of Westeros misses the entire point of the criticism raised against the patriarchy of both Game of Thrones and Themyscira. This doesn't really spell like a good sign for the show. I just feel it really bizarre. They keep comparing it to Game of Thrones. It seems like
that's so weird. I guess to answer Lito's question, I don't know if it could work like this. I don't know if a show about the Themyscira could work like Game of Thrones, because that like Reno just said, and then also that sounds so boring to me to watch a show about Themyscira that's in the vein of Game of Thrones. So it's like a political drama and there's no Wonder Woman. That sounds so boring. Like, right. I don't know. I wouldn't tune into that personally.
You take out the sex. I mean, yeah, you take out the sex and the patriarchy and I guess, sort of objectification of women and stuff, and you take that out, and then like you said, it's just a political drama, and then you take out Wonder Woman, and what do you have? Just characters no one's ever heard of. It's not Game of Thrones. It's not going to be Game of Thrones, let's be honest. And so like, what's left? This is the show I think I'm probably most worried about not being good. And the initial pitch for the Paradise Lost television series seems to indicate that DC kind of struggle, as Marvel also does, to create the meaningful representation of women in the right way and not seem fake or whatever. And, well-rounded female characters aren't just male characters in a woman's name. Okay? Like taking Taskmaster and just making it a female doesn't do anything. And it kind of makes me wonder, like, are you saying that Black Widow couldn't beat up a guy? Got to make it a female? They do this stuff and it ends up backfiring, and there needs to be more than just gender swapping male driven stories and characters, in order to create more diverse representation. That's not how you really do it. Right. And Game of Thrones contains.
Oh, I'm sorry. I interrupted you.
No, go ahead.
Oh, no. I was saying that's why I kind of having not necessarily an issue, but I'm not really excited to see the Supergirl in the Flashpoint movie. I mean, I don't even like, it's just because all of Clark's stories, everything that happens with him within Flashpoint, they're putting that onto Kara now. That's all Kara. And I hate when they do that because they did it on the Supergirl show. And it's like, why can't she just exist on her own? Why did she have to always be pushed into Clark's identity and have his stories and stuff like that? It's just like really stupid to me. So that kind of plays into that.
You're right. No, yeah, exactly. And it's like they're just putting a female in the Superman costume and putting girl at the end instead of man. There's got to be more.
Yeah, and Kara is more than that, but like for some reason, it's like let's just push her in the Clark's identity for some reason. I don't know.
Yeah, because Hollywood isn't that smart. That's just
right.
What it is.
Yeah,
instead of just And we got this.
replacing
The one
Cavill.
thing that the one thing that's killing us really, a lot of movies and a lot of things, right, is this woke woman's movement type thing that's going around where
When they do it
you
wrong,
know, and they right, yeah, and
when it's overdone.
you just doing it just to include them. It's like if you playing a sport, and even though you might have five people that suck, and you just like we just gotta pick them because just so they don't feel bad. Like it's like that. I wouldn't want nobody to, you know what I mean? Like I wouldn't want nobody
Yeah,
to do it
like
just because they
a
feel
pity
they
pick.
right, a pity
Yeah,
party, right? I wouldn't want nobody to do it because they felt like it. Give me something genuine and natural that I could go with. Like
yeah.
that's like when we had female lead TV shows in the '90s. Early when we had the movie Sheena, Queen of the Jungle. That shit was good. I don't
Well,
care what
what
nobody said.
there was that
And then you
show,
had
The Warrior Princess. That
the
was
war,
huge.
yeah, Xena Warrior Priest. That joint was Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Huge.
That joint
Buffy the
was
Vampire.
good, bro.
Yeah,
Yeah, all of those they were good because they were done well, and
yeah.
they weren't trying to push an agenda. That's just what
And
they
they,
were when they were
and
written.
they weren't really objectifying women. They weren't making sex symbols out of them. I mean, even
Nope.
Xena, a sex symbol, but she still like was a badass too. So
Yes, she
it
was.
it, it, it
Yeah.
balanced out. It was more like an empowering way, but yeah, but I don't know the early details that about this show, Paradise Lost, announced by James Gunn, don't bode well for the series. Basically, bottom line. So for the series to contain quality representation of the DCU's Amazons, since it upholds the patriarchal values in a fictional society that is supposed to be separate from the oppressive structure, at of this early announcement, the series seems to be a gross misrepresentation of the source's materials intention, as well as a failure to improve upon the flawed media from the past. Is this supposed to be improving on what they did with Wonder Woman? Is this even about Wonder Woman? Is this a foreshadowing to a Wonder Woman movie? Because so far, it seems like she's not really involved at all. And then why are we making it? So it doesn't. I don't know. There's nothing good about this show.
Questions on questions.
You know what, Reno? I would say that they did it, and this is it's speculation, but my educated guess would be they canceled the Wonder Woman movie, and
Right.
they already were ready to go to get another one done. And they
Mhm.
were probably in a room, and somebody probably said, "Well, look, let's just make a TV series, do this, do that, see how that goes over. And if that does well, then we can proceed with a new movie, and we know which direction to go in."
Right.
And I think that's what really happened, because the last Wonder Woman movie, it was a flop. It literally was a flop. No
Yeah.
one was interested.
No.
No one talked about it. Nobody bought the toys.
Ugh.
It was just a flop. It should have been done better. It could have been done. You had the characters, right? You had Cheetah. You had Wonder Woman. I don't understand what happened.
Max Lord. Yeah, I don't know what
Yeah,
happened. You had two arch nemesis for Wonder Woman
Wonder
in one
Woman.
film, and it was.
Right.
I don't know.
Mhm.
Well, actually, I know what went wrong. Patty Jenkins is what went wrong because she had too much control over the film. So.
Mm.
James Gunn. Oh, good. I was on Twitter earlier. That's what I forgot. And James Gunn was saying how old Batman will be.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
In Brave and Bold,
and all of it and everything. They said he's going to be younger than 40.
So, bro. I'm shocked.
That's what he gave out. That's what he gave out. Younger than 40.
Younger than 40.
But so if he's younger, so that asks the question, well, how old was Ben Affleck's Batman?
Yeah, wait, how old is everybody else in reference if this man is younger than 40? Yeah.
Because so I'm 43. My son's 18. I had him when I was 25, which is it's kind of normal, I guess. But most people kind of have kids around 21, I think, usually. But anyway, so how old would he be? So Damian Wayne is supposed to be.
No. hold on, no,
in
no,
his
wait a minute, let me
teen.
hold on.
Oh,
Wait a minute, let's see.
she's like, wait.
Something like that. Let me get a tweet. Let me get a tweet because somebody said it wrong.
He's like, let me make sure I
All
got
right,
it.
it says here.
No,
All right, here we go. Here we go. He suggests that Batman could be a couple years older than Superman, and in his eyes, for what he wants Superman to be, Superman is younger than 40.
okay,
So
Superman's younger than 40.
Okay, so that
Superman's
Batman's
younger than
older.
40. Batman's
okay.
just a couple of years older than Superman.
Oh,
So Batman's
So
probably
so
like
what?
40
so
something.
put
So
him
that'd be
in
what,
like
42? So that's what,
That would make
42,
sense though. I'm
43?
43. My son's 18. If Damian Wayne's like 16ish, that'd be perfect. 42, right? And
that would be.
it'd be
Now, if
Which
it's
ridiculous.
brings
saying younger than 40, now I mean I don't know, like how young is he trying to go?
Superman.
Like
Yeah.
Superman's
early,
younger than 40.
like
So how young
Superman's
you
maybe
want
younger.
Superman
early
to be?
30s.
Right. So
Right,
that
that's what
asks
I'm trying
another
to figure
question. How young you want Superman to be?
out. uh,
Yeah.
that's
Because you got to remember in the comics when Batman meets Superman, they're both pretty. Batman is always he's been older,
yeah.
but Superman was pretty. He was like pretty young, but he was also pretty seasoned. Like not as seasoned as Batman, but he wasn't. You know what I mean? Like he wasn't young. He was out of high school. He was an adult. And if they want to use John Kent, I'm not getting it.
Hmm. Yeah, we don't know, man, because it's other shit in this DC slate that we never got. Constantine 2 is one. That's something they never mentioned. That Gunn never mentioned. But according to everything I'm reading, that's in development and is slated for this first, chapter, Gods and Monsters. Um, if it does, and then but he has been roasted more than once for signing a massive development deal with a studio worth hundreds of billions of dollars, only to repay WB's exorbitant level of investment by delivering absolutely nothing. Justice League Dark, an episodic Constantine reboot. The Zatanna thing are just a couple of titles that have been picked up and then discarded. But there might be a light at the end of the tunnel. Matt Reeves, The Batman Universe, Todd Phillips, Joker Saga have been rebranded as Elseworld titles. But that's that Superman, what Tanahashi Superman story
Oh,
uh hasn't even been, I guess, written or turned in yet, but it's still
Lord.
supposedly going down. And then again, if Gunn himself is writing and potentially directing Superman Legacy, then maybe he won't want to share. Maybe he's just not going to let him do any more Superman stuff. So we
That'll
don't know.
be perfect. They need to can that Ta-Nehisi Coates. Just can it, because what they wanted to do with that was give us a black Clark Kent, which nobody asked for and nobody wants. So
Right.
they can just can that, and we don't ever have to speak of it again. That'd be great.
But no, it wasn't a black Clark Kent.
no.
It's a
It
black
was initially
Superman.
supposed to be a black Clark Kent. That's initially
Oh,
what it was
wait.
announced as.
It's not Kal-El though. It was something they were saying that he
it's
was
Zod.
black.
It's
It's
Zod.
not. He
It's
wasn't
Zod. His
Kal-El.
name is he's from another Earth. And it's
Right.
Zod. It's something Zod. Val Zod. Val
Yeah, I
Zod
know
is from another
Valzad,
Earth.
but I was saying like initially it wasn't even announced as Valzad. They were literally going to do a black Clark Kent and just do the whole thing over again. So if that
Oh,
changed,
okay, okay.
then
I see what
okay,
you're
that's
saying.
different.
Okay,
But
okay.
initially
I
it
see.
wasn't even like a Valzad thing, because that's not a problem. But they were
Right.
saying it was going to be a black Clark Kent, which is like
Nobody
no.
wants that.
So yeah,
Yeah, that's not ever gonna be fucking accepted.
Yeah, because Val Zod is from Earth 2,
yeah.
and we know Ultraman is from Earth 3, and Superman's from Earth 1. So, but Val Zod is dope, bro. I really,
Yes.
I'm,
Yeah.
I'm, I'm, I would love for them to do it. But I just don't want to mess it up. You know?
Right.
I don't know, man. I think I'd
Because
want to
writers
hold
now,
off.
right? Because one of the things that sells Val Zod that writers nowadays have a problem doing is keeping secret identities. So
Right.
like Val Zod, he's president of the United States, and he keeps that well hidden. That he is not Superman. Like like
Yeah.
he'll leave and Brainiac helps him. Like he'll create a hologram where it'll look like him, and and then he'll go out and he'll do something. He'll come back like nothing ever happened. Um, I don't even know how they're gonna. I don't know. It's gonna
They're
be
not.
interesting to see how this goes down. It really is. is, bro. It really will.
Mm, I don't even
Mm,
know.
mm, mm,
It really
mm.
will. Cause even with the Brave and the Bold, Zack Snyder has his favorite characters that he likes, and everybody knows he likes Jonathan Kent. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows he likes Jonathan Kent. Everybody knows he likes Damian Wayne. Everybody knows he likes Jason Todd. Uh, we all know he likes Brainiac. So
Mm.
he and for some reason, don't ask me why, bro. I'm still trying to figure it out. He loves Amanda Waller. Um,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
and you
Oh,
know, people are still trying to figure out was it Creature Squad what he loves about them, but
the
it's always
creature
it's
of
something. And I
Olympus.
yeah, so and we we don't have a problem with it, but um and James Gunn likes to put a lot of different characters. And like when he did the second Suicide Squad movie, there was a lot of characters in there, man. You was like,
Hmm.
yo, like some deep rooted DC characters. Like you was like, dang. I was looking at like, wow, they got Captain Boomerang, they got this person, they got that. I'm like, yo. And then Peacemaker got a spinoff from it, which was great. We thought Idris Elba was gonna get one for Bloodsport, but apparently that
Yeah.
didn't happen.
Wow.
So we'll see what happens, man. We'll see um
I
what
think
he
this
puts in.
overall,
Oh,
the Gods and Monsters, DCU Chapter One is a strong step forward. After listening to James Gunn's plans, I can only, I think it sounds good. I mean, because the comic book universe has lingered somewhere between that's dope and what the fuck, why, for a long time, and projects being greenlit and then canceled, and there's a whole lot of films were shot and scrapped at the last seconds. Batgirl, following Zack Snyder's departure from the franchise, a lot of creative minds tried to steer the DC ship in a lot of different directions that never went anywhere. But occasionally a film like like Joker or the Batman was like a gem in the rough that surprised us, a sleeper hit that we didn't expect, followed by something like Wonder Woman 84 that totally blew. Um,
yes, it did.
but yeah, but luckily
Mm.
the new Warner Brothers hotshot David Zaslav stepped in and handed the reins to James Gunn. And my feelings about James Gunn's body of work is that so far, Guardians is my favorite thing in Marvel. Suicide Squad, the second one, was light years better than the first one. Peacemaker, easily one of the best superhero shows, quality wise. And I think he's the right man for the job. The man's visionary, but understands how to connect with general audiences, which is what they strive to do most. But also, he keeps it comic book accurate, and gives us fans, comic book fans, what we really like. I mean, Guardians Volume 1, my favorite MCU movie, still one of the strongest MCU entries. And then, like I said, Suicide Squad, Peacemaker, fucking peak. But it's been crazy to think that it's been, almost 6 years since we saw Superman on the big screen. And that
It's been
cheesy
that
Black
long?
Adam, yeah, and that with
Morons.
Yeah.
that cheesy Black Adam cameo, notwithstanding, we don't count that, but our boy in blue has sat for too long. He's definitely been on the sidelines, on the bench. Cavill obviously was who everybody wanted to return. That's not happening. We have to accept it. And I would have loved to see him be Superman again, but I get the need to go younger, and to go in a different direction, to start from scratch. Plus, while I generally consider Man of Steel the the de facto Superman epic, I'm always for a new take on a character, a new take on anything, new comic book, something new from someone new, because it's different. It can't be as bad as what we had before. It can't be. It's not the same. It could be worse, could be better, but it can't be the same. And the same, hasn't been great. But I don't know, like, why we should get excited is because read how Peter Safran described the character. He said it's not an origin story. but it focuses on Superman's balancing his Kryptonian heritage with his human upbringing. He's the embodiment of truth, justice, and the American way. He's kindness in a world that thinks kindness is old fashioned. End quote.
Mm.
And Bryan Singer, Zack Snyder tried presenting a Superman who fit more within like our, especially Gen X, like our cynical modern view of society. And that the Man of Steel was a breath of fresh air. It's like it made me a fan of Superman again, or I guess ever, because I really wasn't before. I'm a cynical dude. I'm not into the Boy Scout stuff. I like darker tones. And but I will admit that Superman Returns and Man of Steel did lack that sort of adventurous hero spirit that comic book movies seem to need. When they try to do it darker, it just doesn't come off. And so it'll be interesting to see if Gunn can create an old-fashioned hero relatable to contemporary audiences. And I think as long as he sticks to the comic book material, can't go wrong. And he seems to be understanding of that in his past work. Now, is Gunn the right man to direct the project? And I'm not sure about that. Many, including me, are afraid that he'll apply some, that same goofy Guardians of the Galaxy, Peacemaker aspect aesthetic to every DCU property, and we don't want that. Like, God, please don't do that. I just hope that he can, distinguish between Superman and Polka Dot Man. Like they don't both get the same equal touch of comedy. But Gunn has always been good at the other stuff too. I mean, he's good at comedy, but I think what he's good about comedy is giving us the right amount. He never gives us that Taika Waititi oversaturated comedy that falls flat, isn't funny, and just like takes over the storyline. He doesn't do that. So I do have faith that he knows how to dial back the comedy when he's supposed to. Even in an action movie, even in a horror movie, even in a violent like horror movie, there's always like a little joke or a little quip. It's fine to put that in the right place, and it works. It sometimes can make the dark parts seem darker when they need to be, because you got that levity. And on top of that, J.J. Abrams and Ta-Nehisi Coates' untitled Black Superman project is still in development. So we'll get a lot of Superman, whether it's good or bad. We'll get a lot of new Superman stuff. The Batman. I'm definitely glad we're getting more of Matt Reeves, the Batman, because his original film set up what could be a great franchise. Like, I want to see that universe's versions of Two-Face and Joker and Bane and Scarecrow and especially Mr. Freeze. Like, I really want to see what comes out of that. So I'm excited about that. Like DC going forward, I think looks better than it ever has. Not going to say it's just better as it could be. It's the best it could be, but I think it looks better than it has. That's just my opinion. Bats will appear in different forms over the next several years. You got the Flash with Michael Keaton and Ben Affleck, Batman 2. You got the Penguin TV series, Gunn's playing Brave and the Bold. They're talking maybe even a Christian Bale. I don't know, older Christian Bale maybe playing the older Batman, fatherly Batman. Who knows? The Dark Knight definitely has a rich history that they can draw from. Including Grant Morrison's famous comic book run, which Gunn has cited as a major influence. And so everyone, your homework is to go look up Grant Morrison. Okay, look up Grant Morrison's X-Men, Grant Morrison's Batman, Grant Morrison's Supergirl. That's going to be a lot of where Gunn's getting his stuff from. And Grant Morrison's stuff it's weird. That's like a really good word for it. So Grant Morrison's stuff is weird, but in a cool way. It's very cool, but whether it's weird, whether it's whatever cool, it's fucking very good, like very well written. Like, he's a great writer. Whether you dig it or not, He's a great writer. So it's a
He
great
really
it's
is.
a
Yeah.
great source to pull from. Yeah. I mean, if you're gonna pull from a comic book source, he's not the worst. Uh, there's, obviously Hickman can be a little complex. Uh, Zdarsky's great for noir, dark noir stuff. I'd love to see Zdarsky, write some shit, but and you know, there's still only so much you can do with a single character before inevitably pairing him with Scooby Doo. We were saying Batman. I mean, but the Brave and the Bold will toss. Robin, Damian Wayne, Robin, who's look. I don't care. He's my favorite Robin. I don't care what
Oh
my favorite
God.
Robin. He just is. But I know why people don't like him. He's a brat and all of that stuff. But I just like his. I like the fact that he's raised by the Al Ghul. He's like raised as this warrior. And he's got this sort of like, what it is. Like Superman, Robin to me always had that boy wonder, boy scout kind of goody two shoes vibe, and I get that's sort of his contrast, but that's what I never liked about him, and that's why they've always left him out of movies and stuff like that. So maybe Damian Wayne is the Robin that live action movies have needed. We'll see.
No. No.
I know.
So I don't want to see that.
Sada, I
No,
don't know.
I
Damien.
don't want to see that. So I was like, nah.
No.
She,
I don't know. I mean, I
I think
think
it could be done.
yeah,
Right.
I think they've left Robin out of so many movies really because they don't understand the character, and they look at that, just the costume, and that's kind of like that surface, like, yeah, it
bright.
looks goofy as hell, it's
Speedos.
bright, whatever, we
Yeah.
don't want it. But there's a lot of layers with Dick Grayson. There's a lot of trauma with Dick Grayson that they don't understand or even want to understand, so they don't often use him and put him in movies and stuff like that. And I mean, the latest thing we've had of him is Titans, which is a whole thing. But it just Damien.
Yeah.
Ugh.
No, I get it. And listen, I'm not really like passionate about it one way or the other because I don't read a lot of DC and I'm not really into Batman or to Robin anyway, so I don't know a lot about that. And like you talking about, Dick Grayson's traumas and tragedies and stuff like that, like, I always liked Nightwing. I always thought Nightwing was but again, you know why I like Nightwing? Because he's not Robin, because he's not wearing little speedos and running, but no, I mean, Brave and the Bold, I'm excited for it. I've never been excited or wanted them ever to do a Batman and Robin movie just because we were so tainted with that Batman and Robin movie that was so bad. But it could be done right. And I've been like when what's his name? Came in into the Christian Bale Batman movie.
The
he
police
he
officer
was a
who
cop.
was kind of
Yeah.
like
Who was
and it
he?
was talking
What
about-
Robin was he?
I don't know if he was
He
a
was no
specific
Robin.
Robin.
He was no Robin. He was the
no
Hollywood Robin.
Yeah,
They were
pretty
acting
much.
like he was gonna be Robin, right? But what was his name? They showed his name like we
It
were
was
supposed
Blake,
to go,
I
oh, that's,
want to say. I think it was Blake. Hold on,
yeah.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt played him. Dark Knight.
Right, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, right. And I know there's been like 5 Robins, but I don't.
Yeah, he was John Blake, the most basic name you could ever think of. That was the Hollywood Robin.
Right. I guess they didn't want to do Tim Drake, so they gave him John Blake.
Man.
That's horrible. I mean, but we've yet to see a Bat project good with, all the elements of Batman and stuff on the big screen. Christopher Nolan was definitely grounded in realism. Snyder's was over the top action. Tim Burton had that gothic style. Reeves was the film noir. Joel Schumacher was, that campy goofiness. And sort of nobody ever really hit it on the head, nailed it exactly 1,000% in every angle. So maybe the Brave and Bold can finally deliver in that realm. Who knows? Supergirl, A Woman of Tomorrow. Again, Grant Morrison. So I'm interested. Curious. It's another project that I have excitement about, primarily because Gunn describes it as a big science fiction epic film, and sci-fi, Grant Morrison, fuck yeah, Tom James Gunn, I'm into it. Supergirl is a much more jaded, which could be fun, especially if she goes toe to toe with her more famous cousin. And then Gunn plans to take cues from Tom King's Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow as well. And Tom King's run of Batman is my favorite Batman run, but I haven't read the Supergirl one, so I don't know anything about it. I don't know if you guys have, but it's
Mm-mm.
I've definitely got some reading to do because I want to check out I want to read that because I want to know. So Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow is by Tom King is the comic that they're sort of pulling from. Um I'm interested in Waller. Waller could be good despite not really loving either Suicide Squad movie. I did like the second one a lot better. Viola Davis, great actress. I don't know enough about Amanda Waller to know if she's a good Amanda Waller. Um,
No,
I think
not at all.
she's. I don't know. Yeah, I just think the writing is super piss poor with Amanda Waller. So
Yeah.
it's hard to really judge the performance because she's doing. I don't know. It's just the writing is just not good with Amanda Waller.
well, she should be pretty complex, right? Because
Yeah.
Very
she
complex.
rides
The man
that
is very
line
complex.
of good and bad. Like she's
No,
definitely right.
no, no,
No,
no, man. She Amanda Waller
No, she's bad.
is who Amanda.
She a
She's bad.
ruthless
She is who she is. She is
motherfucker.
very ruthless. She has been known.
okay,
They even call it a wall. They call it a wall, and not
okay,
a short for Waller, but they call
right,
it a
right,
wall because
right.
she don't
She
budge
calls herself the wall.
on
What am I
nothing.
meant to do with the
If
wall?
you listen, if you was a superhero and you was Reno Noir, superhero extraordinaire, and you was on Suicide Squad, and she told you to do, she don't ask you to do it, she tell you to do what she wants you to do. And if you don't do it, she be like, Reno, listen, I got my finger on the button. I'm about to blow your head off right now. Are you gonna get it done or not? And if
Right.
you was like, and let's say if you was like, I want to, but boom, you're done. Next up,
You're
who else we got there? That's
next
it.
up.
That's how she get
But
Bring in
down,
the
bro.
dead body.
she's not doing things like trying to blow up. She's not a terrorist or trying to rob banks. Like she's leading a group of heroes that are supposed to be doing good stuff for the
Villains,
No,
yeah, she
government,
was the
right?
no,
villain.
no.
No.
Or
She's
Well,
she
Argus,
villains.
you gotta look at Argus. Argus has their own agenda, and a lot of times it's government stuff, but they'll call Waller in to get the jobs done that they know regular people can't do.
right.
And
So
won't do
she
morally.
has
And
somebody
the
she even answers
Suicide
to.
Squad, they'll go do stuff
Right,
that is suicide mission style shit.
right. But they even she has a boss, but she doesn't answer to him. She just takes orders from him. I don't even know how that's the thing. But she doesn't answer to anybody. She just takes orders, but she don't answer to anybody.
Well,
And Bel Rev prison is where she gets all
Yes.
her recruits from. She
Yes.
gets them all from Bel Rev. You
She
know?
well,
loves to visit Bel Rev.
and that's a good,
But
I
remember,
imagine
but
a
remember,
character
Suicide
like
Squad
that
2, Reno, is
is
is also a secret project. Like nobody knows about it. Nobody knows. The only
right.
person that knows what she's doing is Batman. But he won't tell because she won't tell. She knows his identity. He knows what she. So it's kind of like a checkmate between them two. So
Right.
that's yeah. Batman can stop her, but he can't really tell without exposing himself and who he is, and she'll expose him.
Well, that makes me like her even more. Now I'm way more interested. Knowing that she's a
Okay.
bad guy, and I imagine that the series is going to give James Gunn a big excuse to play with a lot of more eccentric villains. So yeah, I'm actually more excited about this now. And then Gunn mentioned how some animated projects would bleed into the live action films and vice versa, and likely feature the same cast. I know, Sada, you think it's a terrible idea.
I do. It's just a lot of work. It's just a lot of unnecessary work for him to try and because voice acting and acting are different things. It requires different skill sets. So to try and make the cast, the voice acting cast, do it live action, it might not translate as well.
Yeah.
Right.
But now if he but it would be cool if it was done well and it was done right and the actors could both do voice acting and regular acting. I get like what I mean by that is I understand why he would want to have the same voices and stuff so that audiences aren't like, "Oh, that's a different Batman." So it's like they really know this is the same guy. It's the same voice, everything. Like I get the idea behind it, but I understand what you're saying that it could cause for some shaky product. But I think it's a decent move. And it's proof that he's building something special and ambitious, very ambitious, here. And his ringing endorsement of the Flash, calling it one of the greatest hero films that he's ever seen or ever made, mirrors early, reactions to the picture. So it must be
One
an
of the
outstanding
greatest
film. If Gunn,
superhero.
that's what
One of the greatest superhero.
he
We
said.
Oh,
haven't even seen it yet. I'm hyped now. We
He
haven't
said
even
one.
seen it.
He said one of the greatest superhero films ever made, and he's seen it. Yeah, he's seen it. After he saw it, that's what he
Bro.
said. Um,
This I bet. Listen, I've been want
so
to watch this joint. Like I've been watching Black Panther.
I'm
My
saying,
goodness.
bro. It must be an outstanding film if Gunn uses it to launch the slate of his whole DC thing. And of course, there are also the Shazam and Aquaman sequels, which may also lead to new content. Who really knows at this point? And at any rate, I like that Gunn is not throwing out the Snyderverse completely. In fact, Ezra Miller's Flash may return in later
oh,
films along with Jason Momoa's Aquaman as some sort of multiverse, cameo shit. But we don't want guys, we don't want Ezra Miller as Barry Allen ever, ever again. Just stop. He's You want him to be Wally, maybe okay, but not
no, not even Wally, because I don't even know if he can get that
Barry.
right.
See,
No,
so there you go.
no.
Not even Wally. Yeah. So just please, that kid's not the guy. Apparently, the Wonder Woman prequel TV series Paradise Lost leaves the door open for Gal Gadot to reprise her role. We don't know. And does that mean
Mm.
that Ben Affleck will return at some point? How about Cavill? Gunn says that Cavill was dicked around with by WB,
Yeah, and
and
him. He's gonna just conveniently remove himself from the equation.
no, he did take responsibility, but he said
Oh,
that he wouldn't have been put in the position to do that to him if they hadn't fucked around and put him. You know what I mean? Like if the whole Black Adam thing and they didn't gas him up like, hey, this is getting ready to happen for you, then Gunn wouldn't have had to come in and be like, no, that's not, that wasn't my plan. You guys shouldn't have done that to him. Should have left him over there at The Witcher or let him do what he was doing instead of pulling him out here, telling him he's getting ready to have a job that you had no reason to tell him that he had. And then now it makes Gunn look like the asshole because he has to now be the one to kick him out. But
but
that's
he
what
didn't have to do that because, like, it's hard for me to believe what he's saying when I'm looking at this universe, and it really isn't a reboot. It's like, okay, we're keeping the Suicide Squad that he set up. We're keeping Waller. Oh, Gal Gadot may come back. Oh yeah, we have Ben Affleck here. It's like, oh, Jason Momoa is definitely going to stay. So it's not
yeah.
really a reboot. So why is Cavill the only one that's for sure shunned out? Like, why is that the case? It's just hard for me to believe he's
Because
not.
of the Rock. Because of the Rock.
Well,
That's
It's
why.
hard for me to believe he's not complicit in that at all. When
well,
that just didn't need to happen.
it's not that he's not complicit in it, but I think, and like Stu just said, The Rock really rubbed people the wrong way, pushed a lot of buttons, and that could have a lot to do with it. But it also has to do with Gunn having his own, Superman movie idea. He wants to do his Superman movie with the young Superman that he wants to do. He wanted to do a Superman movie. That was part of the deal that he made with the contract. Okay, if I'm going to come over, I get to do my Superman movie. And they were like, okay. And they signed it. And I guess, between the stuff with Black Adam and see Black Adam, The Rock tried to come in and act like he was James Gunn. He tried to come in and take James Gunn's job. And I think they might have been vying for the same position, or at least Rock thought they were. And he was acting like they were, and that pissed Gunn off. And maybe it is a little spite, maybe, but
I believe it is because he's not. Listen, he did the same thing with Fast and the Furious.
Yeah,
And
there's
Vin
definitely
Diesel got
spite.
into it. Right, they got into it about some of the creative things that were going on, and Rock was throwing a lot of ideas, and Vin Diesel was like, "Nah, it's not what we doing. This is what we got. This is what we rolling with.
Yeah.
You don't like it, leave."
He
And that's
said,
what we
"I'm
got.
gone."
And that's when we got Calvin and was it Shaw and Hobbs, Hobbs and Shaw.
Yep.
That's when we got Hobbs and Shaw,
Right. And
which was
I really dig the chapters concept, and the title Gods and Monsters is really cool. I like that idea. I like, the this will be the Gods and Monsters chapter. What's the next chapter going to be? I don't know. Uh, you know, aliens and fucking, maybe we'll get Martian Manhunter and Brainiac and all kinds of cool stuff. But I hope the Lanterns TV show leads into some of that. That's definitely still the thing that I'm most excited for, is that Lanterns TV show. Sounds super intriguing. Hal Jordan, Jon Stewart roaming around the galaxy like cops from True Detective is super dope. Like True Detective was so good, bro. It was so dope. So yeah, comparing that's fuck
magnifique.
yeah.
Yes, it
Telling
was. Yes,
yeah,
it really
Magnifique.
was.
yeah.
Hmm.
Especially since
That's
that
it.
series is supposed to tie into the larger narrative, with the lanterns and stuff. Could we see a return of Darkseid from a different form? And then, as an aside, I love how each project has a distinct tone and style. Swamp Thing is a horror film. Lanterns is like a True Detective cop show. Superman is an adventure show. Not every hero has to be bright and optimistic or dark and brooding. Like the Snyderverse. Like I like the dark and brooding stuff, but they all can't be dark and brooding. Like all the characters shouldn't be dark, maybe. And there's room for variance. And I like that. I like that they're mixing animation into it, making a bigger deal out of the animation, because DC animated movies definitely are underrated. They need to be way need way more love, because they're fucking way better than their live action stuff. And Gunn was excited about The Authority, which he called his passion project, which I know a lot of you now don't know about or care about, but trust me, there it's a dope comic. And it will likely allow Gunn to sort of uncork his quirky style without upsetting fans or changing the tone or style, because Authority is going to be really violent, but also weird and probably funny, and it's going to be right up Gunn's purview. It's just like it's like Guardians of the Galaxy, and mixed with that sort of you know the dark, violent with the humor and shit. I don't know, but it's weird to think that an obscure superhero team might end up as popular as the Guardians in the next 10 years. Because that would be cool. But yeah, man. I mean, I think the most important tidbit from Gunn and Safran's announcement was how they emphasized the need to produce quality over quantity. That's always good to hear. And they plan to release 2 films and 2 shows per year, but they promise they won't put a project into production without a finished script, because that's been a lot of the problems. They start doing this production before they have the script, or they start doing this before they had that, and then the thing gets scrapped because they should have done this before they even put the money into that. If that makes sense. He said people have become beholden to release dates, to getting movies made no matter what. I'm a writer at my heart, and we're just not going to be making movies before the screenplay is finished. And that's a beautiful thing. I know that seems like common sense, like, yeah, duh, but that's not what's been happening. And so it's definitely important that they've made that, drawn that line in the sand, I think. And if DC wants to take over Marvel, this is the only way that they have a chance. And plus, it's the perfect time to strike. The MCU has not been this weak ever. I mean, it's really waned in recent years due to Feige's insistence on producing so many movies and shows per year, and it's overkill. And it's led to stale projects with way too many duds. And if Gunn holds true to his promise, the DCU might slide in and take over the comic book movie genre that the
Mm.
MCU has monopolized for over 10 years now. And maybe then Marvel will get its act together and go back to producing quality content for its fans to get behind. And that's always a plus. So if this could end up being the catalyst to Marvel's improving their shit. So I'm like just overall happy and excited about DC right now, man.
I'm
I am too.
cautiously optimistic.
Okay,
I'm
that's
looking at
good.
the slate. I'm fairly confused by it, but even beyond my confusion of the slate, I mean, we're in that same stage where we're always in as DC fans. We're hearing is words, promises,
Mm,
all this stuff we want to hear, and then it's never delivered. So we're in that phase right now. They're saying everything that I would want to hear, especially James Gunn. He's really good at doing that. So
mm.
I'm just like, okay, let's see if you can meet what your words.
Okay, so you're happy about everything you're hearing. You're just not
I
faithful
don't
that
think
it's
we're
gonna
gonna
happen.
get it.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna. I don't know if it's gonna happen because so many times before they've
Right.
said, oh da 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 da. Like I literally remember when we got a plan for like after Man of Steel and we had Batman v Superman and then Justice League and I was hyped and they were saying all the
That's
right
true.
stuff and then it was a
Yeah.
complete disaster. So I just want to make sure that this time around they match what they're saying.
Yeah.
And I'm just confused by the slate. So then I'm kind of like, what? But we'll see what happens. I'm not counting it out because it's not horrible like last time. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's valid. I mean, there's no reason. I'm sure a lot of fans, feel the same way, because you can only do somebody wrong before they, start expecting you to do them wrong again, so many times. So, hey, it's not. But so I think we do agree that if they give us what they're telling us, it looks really cool. But are we going to get it is the question. And so that
I
remains
I
to
think
be
we're
seen.
gonna get it. I
I do
think we're gonna
too.
get it. My thing is I'm gonna take it all how it comes. I'm gonna take it one
Right.
show at a time, one. And if it's good, it's good. If it's bad, I'm not overanalyzing. I'm just gonna give it to you straight. How many couches you get out of 5 couches is
Yeah.
is what I'll be sticking to. But at the same time, I mean, Sada has a point. Back in like 2010,
Yeah.
2012,
Oh, yeah.
they gave us this timeline that everything would have been good by now. Oh, and
Yeah.
they canceled Batgirl. Come on, man. That was a heartbreaker for me, bro. Like
That was
I wanted to see that. I don't care how bad it was. Let me make the determination of how bad or good it was. You didn't give me that
right.
freedom. I don't
I
have
think they
freedom
should have
anymore.
given fans that.
Yeah,
Well,
like let us see for ourselves.
Right. And we
yeah.
have
Cause you
two
release
years.
think about it. Think about it, y'all. They've released worse movies. Like Highlander
Exactly.
2. Nobody asked for Highlander 2. It was done. There can only be one. And then they put out a part two. It was like one of the worst. If you can Google it, it's one of the worst movies ever in the history of movies. And
Oh
they
my
gave us part two when he killed all the people. You
Well,
got to
you're
kill everybody.
right.
It can be only one.
I mean, Firefly. What's his Firefly? Brendan Fraser. So
He
that's the
said it
bad.
was good.
He said
I think they
that.
should have just released it and let people decide for themselves.
Yep,
Well, he's
I
been,
agree,
well,
Sada.
remember, they didn't cancel it because they thought it wasn't good only. They had their other fiscal tax return reasons or whatever the fuck. But
Oh yeah,
yeah,
but they were saying that it was
they
unreleasable, and
right.
everybody that was a part of the film disagreed. Which, of course, they're not going to sit there and say, "Yeah, that shit was horrible." But
Well,
it's still release it.
That's not true, Sada. Because when George Clooney played Batman
Yeah.
and Batman Forever, he said it. He said that the script was bad, and he
Oh.
thought by him being on it, it would be better. And he apologized. He said, "I am sorry, I messed up Batman for y'all, and that'll never happen. I will never play Batman again, and I'm stepping down officially, and I'm sorry.
well,
I'm
Brendan
sorry."
Fraser,
He said, "I was
he's
sorry."
he's been talking shit recently about that. Like he's been serious about it. Like he's revealing how he heard the news that the studio said that it sucked and all that, and he said that he felt like it was a gut punch. No, what he said? He said he felt punked and blindsided by the by and it felt like it was a gut punch. What he said, I thought I was getting punked, but it checked out. He said, and then came hysterical laughter. Like, you've got to be kidding me. I know that the filmmakers and producers were expecting to hear from the studio about the film, and the anticipation was, how do we broaden the movie out to take it from a streaming format to theatrical release? But as we all know, it was a complete opposite. When we were expecting XYZ amount of support and money to expand scenes, to do pickup shots and those kinds of things, it was a gut punch. But then we learned that it was in the interest of writing down some debt. That part really stung. Praising Grace's performance, Fraser added, he said it was just magical to see how she was as quietly confident as a young actress in this breakthrough role, and had a sense of purpose and dignity. She has a work ethic that is unrivaled. She's dynamite, and dynamite comes in small packages, but it still goes bang. We battle each other several times. He said there was a lot of kicking and punching and getting hurt, but we were always helping each other to our feet after breaking set pieces and knocking the tar out of each other. But yeah, I mean, everybody involved in the movie says it was great. The thing is, when you're making a movie and you're an actor filming scenes, you have no clue what the movie's going to look like. I mean, you have a tiny idea, but trust me, post editing and stuff changes a movie so dramatically. They have no clue what was really there, and they shoot a bunch of scenes out of order. I know a lot of people don't realize this, but they don't go in and start filming scene one and then film every scene in the session, right? They might film the last scene first. I mean, they film it all out of order. So the actors really don't know for sure what it's going to look like. I know I've heard a lot of actors like some really big ones too, like Keanu Reeves or somebody said they've never Johnny Depp never never seen his own movies, never seen them. Like, has no interest in watching, doesn't know what they're like, because he said filming them doesn't really give you an idea what's the finished product is going to look like. So, devil's advocate, they might not really know what it was going to be. And the studio heads saying that it was unwatchable might just be trying to cover their asses too, because they know that they, did this for, money reasons, and the fans would be pissed if we lost a great movie for that. So you can't really, we don't know. I mean, yeah, until we see it, it's totally. But yeah, according to the people in the movie, it was fucking a good movie. Could have been cool. We'll never know. Well,
Yeah,
maybe
I think
we
they
will.
should have just put it out. I think it would have been a good movie.
Do.
No, probably not. But they should have put it out just so people could see it.
Sure.
People like Stu.
Yeah, I mean,
really want to see it.
Yeah.
I want to see it.
And
I want to see
yeah.
it.
You don't have to do a major theatrical release at this point. Just put the shit out.
Yeah, I thought they were gonna just put it on HBO Max, but when they just completely scrapped it, I was like, "Wow, that's kind of crazy."
Crazy. That's crazy.
Because hate watching is a very powerful thing. So even people who wouldn't have really liked the film, they would have watched it. I don't know if I would have been one of those people. Maybe down the line, not initially though. But yeah, so.
Yeah,
watching is a powerful thing.
I wasn't really excited to see it anyway, but
yeah. But out of curiosity, watch time.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're saying too, the rumor is that Robert Pattinson's Batman might actually be in the Penguin show, might show up in the Penguin TV show. They one of the offshoots in the works is the Penguin, is Colin Farrell reprising his role as the Penguin, Oswald Cobblepot, and it's set to premiere on HBO Max with Reeves as the executive producer on it. And with the Penguin being interconnected with the Batman franchise, the question of whether or not Batman's going to show up has been raised for some time. But now it appears that Pattinson may, in fact, be lined up to appear in the show. Because during a recent episode of The Hot Mic, Jeff Snyder revealed that he learned that the Batman will be in the Penguin. How solid that is, we don't know. But at the time of this report's publication, Warner Brothers TV, HBO Max, or anyone involved with the Penguin series has not commented on the story. And Snyder said, "Word is that Pattinson is going to appear in the Penguin series." Verbatim, that's what he said. And nobody has tweeted to the contrary. Usually they'll be quick to shoot shit down when it's wrong, and no one has yet. And since the Penguin season 1 will have 6 episodes, time will tell if Pattinson is maybe slated for only 1 episode or potentially more. But thus far, very few details about the Penguin show have been revealed. I would promise you, I'll be giving you guys the info as we get it, but we haven't gotten much about that one. Outside casting of new characters, story details are slim to none. And according to Colin Farrell, it will take place just only 1 week after the events of the movie. So you could pretty much watch the Batman and then start watching the Penguin, and it would probably be like, it would be pretty cool. Yeah.
If they utilize Batman how they did in the animated film Assault on Arkham, where he was doing his thing in the background, I would be fine with that, because he was, while the Suicide Squad was doing their thing, he was investigating the Joker, and then it all coincided. So I feel like if they do it like that, especially if it takes place 1 week after the Batman, that would be cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would find that.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
That'd be real cool.
Yeah. With that in mind, it feels safe to say that both Batman and Penguin would be having lots going on right then, just a week later after those events. I mean, Batman is definitely gonna be doing something, and Bruce is likely be trying to help out the city and doing all that kind of shit. And then the Penguin would definitely be doing, trying to get that criminal underworld in order and, sort of solidify his place at the top, because he'll be taking the position that Falcone had. And that'll all be sort of the, what the show should be about, mob politics, that kind of thing. And, it'll just show him continuing to live in the criminal underworld after the Riddler did his thing, so that's going to have changed a bunch of shit. And depending on what storyline that they're going to set up for Oswald, the way that Batman could fit in is if they at some point have a common obstacle or a common villain or someone that they both have to, or like you said, Sada, Batman's investigating something that he's involved in or whatever in the background. But it would be hard to imagine that Oswald and Bruce would cross paths more than once during that show. I mean, for good story wise, I mean, if they just have Bruce like, Batman steady running into Penguin, it just won't seem realistic or believable.
Yeah, no, he doesn't have to run into him. Just investigating him in the background, because he's not gonna just confront him until he's ready. So I feel like if he's doing his thing and then they officially meet maybe in the last episode or something, that would be fine.
Yeah. So yeah, man, it's a lot of cool shit coming down the way for DC. Stu, did you cover everything? Because I know you said you had some stuff you wanted to talk about, but I think you covered it, right?
Yeah, we talked about the link with the right, it's been happening a lot lately. Legion of Superheroes. Legion of Superheroes and the tie-in with
War World.
The War World, which is the next. That's actually slated to be the first animated film we get for the new DCU, and Mongol and everything with Mongol and all that coming. Mongal, James Gunn, Suicide Squad, putting those together, and Brainiac. Brainiac should be a big part of this next thing too, because they mentioned Brainiac a lot in Legion of Superheroes, and Supergirl starts dating Brainiac 5, but that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother segment, for a whole nother time. I honestly think that the Legion of Superheroes is going to be DC's answer to the Avengers. I think he's gonna go with that future team of superheroes and push them because they're younger. They're
Yeah, so you think that
impressionable.
would be their answer to like the young Avengers that they're trying to set up somewhat
One
down the
hundred
line?
percent.
Like this
One
would be
hundred
their
percent.
answer to that?
I think James Gunn can do it. I think he's the one. He's the person that can pull it off. He pulled off Suicide Squad very elegantly that second time around. For some
Mm.
reason, I don't know why the first movie has a cult following. It really does. It literally has a cult following. Um,
Uh,
People love it.
I
I
will
know a
never know.
lot of people. The casual audience loved both Suicide Squads, but that first Suicide Squad has a straight cult following. Like, I mean,
People hate that
you
first
got
one.
we do, but the casual audience doesn't. They
Yes,
love it
they
That
do.
for
The
movie,
some
casual
reason.
audience is the one that hates it most.
I've I've heard a lot of people, Reno, say like I'll go places, people will be like, they'd be like, oh, Suicide Squad. They'd be like, oh, like, my best friend, my husband, my girlfriend, like they love that movie. I'd be like, really? They'd be like,
yeah, they might have
yeah.
liked the
I've heard,
cast because that
I've
movie
heard a
did
lot
make
of
a
people
little
say that.
bank. That movie made like
It
800
did.
million. People
Yeah,
sleep
it
on that,
did.
but that movie made
Yeah.
800
Yeah.
million.
Mm.
Hmm. Well,
Yeah. Now we might not liked it, but somebody did somewhere, somehow.
Enough to make it
Because
almost
it
$1
would have
billion.
never. Because think about it, Reno. It would have never got a sequel. It would have never. They would have never
well,
gave
it
it a
didn't.
sequel.
It wasn't a sequel. It was more like a reboot. They were trying to say that we did it wrong. Now we're going to try to do it right. That's what the second one was.
The whole
And
branding of that was just so weird because you're titling it The Suicide Squad, and it's like, okay, that's coinciding with the less favorable Suicide Squad. It's just weird.
Right. I mean, because to
yeah,
me, the first one wasn't bad. I just thought that they could have picked better people to play
I,
like
Yeah.
certain roles. Like
I didn't.
I
I couldn't even get into the first one. Like I couldn't even get
like
into it. It
It
was
like
was so
Will
bad.
Smith. Will Smith
so
is dead
bad.
shot.
That
He
was
didn't want to wear the mask. He just, and I was like, damn, you could have picked like Deadshot has multiple different things that he wears, but you didn't have to do the mask. You could have did the helmet. You could have did his
Yeah,
little
it was
yeah,
just
his little
so.
earpiece with the. It was a lot. And they didn't do it. And remember, he carried the mask in his back pocket and was like, yeah. When I put the mask on, people comment on, you don't want me to put on the mask. You
Yeah,
don't
we
like
do.
me when I'm angry. You don't like me when I'm angry. So don't make me angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm. It. He's walking. He's walking with his daughter shopping. That's not Floyd Lawton. That's at all, bro. Like I don't even think
Yeah.
Floyd Lawton has it. Yeah, he does have a daughter.
he
But I'm
does,
just
but
saying, like,
he doesn't ever have
yeah,
like real contact with her. Either he's in jail or she's staying away from him.
right. It's just I don't know, man. Like they always have a capacity to just get it wrong. Um, to try to make it right. Like they think they're making it right, and they think they're doing us a favor, but they're not. Like we hate it. Um, we just hate it, and we always will. So I don't know why. Like even now with the Superman thing, every time we ask for something, they give us the direct opposite. Like we want Henry Cavill, but they're like, nah, not right now.
Get him out of there.
There's something else we want to do, and
Not
it
only
doesn't
no
involve
Henry
Henry Cavill.
Cavill, but it's gonna be a woman. Exact
Right,
opposite.
the exact opposite. They always give us like people loved Aquaman, and now I don't even know if we're gonna get an Aquaman film.
Yeah, no, the
Is that even
Aquaman.
coming out?
They're keeping Aquaman.
Aquaman's coming
Yeah,
out?
yeah, they're
Yeah.
keeping
Man, they haven't
Aquaman.
done any type of promotion on that sequel.
Nothing. Nothing. We got nothing.
No, they're not gonna touch anything else until the Flash comes out. Once the Flash comes out, then they'll start bombing us with the Aquaman stuff.
Oh, geez.
But yeah, guys, it is what's 8:30. So next, all right, so Monday we're gonna talk about Quantumania. So try to see it this weekend. I would have already been talking about all the other channels were talking about it, breaking it down like Thursday, but like everyone hasn't seen the movie. I want to wait till people have seen the movie before we go into it because we're gonna chop it up and dissect it and get all the spoilers. But I've seen it already. I like it. I think it's phenomenal. I like it. The critics being way too overcritical. All their complaints seem very superficial and ridiculous. Really nitpicky stuff that doesn't ruin the movie at all. And then you've got a lot of one of the biggest criticisms that a lot of them, keep saying is that there's, which there's a lot of, but that it doesn't really feel like an Ant-Man movie. So they're either saying it doesn't feel like an Ant-Man movie because those are more lighter and breezy and wittier, or it's too light and breezy and witty. It's not impactful enough. So it's like they don't know what they want. And that's because, guys, critics have an agenda. Okay. They're not professional filmmakers. They're not film professionals. They're writers. So their agenda is either to push an agenda of some political whatever, or it's just to promote themselves as a writer. So if I just go say, oh, the movie was great, man, I loved it. There was bombs and explosions and the cool sci-fi stuff, and man, it was cool. You don't seem that intelligent. But if you're like, it could have been, and they try to sound really witty and smart, and so they chop it up, and it's all bullshit.
But to their defense, I mean, some people are just analytical with the films that they watch. They are critical, and sometimes the nitpicks could be stuff that genuinely, like, they can't enjoy the film. I mean, everybody's different. Like, what's nitpicky for them may be like, what for you, but their opinion. It's not God. I hope nobody treats it as such because it's not, but it is their opinion. I just I look at the score, the Rotten Tomato score is just awful for this movie. But I look at that and I'm like, but at the same time, I know I'm a full-bodied human being. I'm going to go see this and just decide for myself what I feel about it. Yeah.
And you said it right. Their opinions. That's it. I mean, it's people's opinions. Critics, that's what I meant by they're not film professionals. They're just people. They're writers. This is their opinion. Don't take their opinion with you into the movie. Just see the movie for what it is and make your own determination, because what they say about it couldn't matter in the slightest. It doesn't, because they're different people than you. They're not you. They're someone else. So they're going to find different things about it. For me, for instance, I can't stand that MODOK has pupils. It ruins it for me. Like everything about the MODOK scenes would have been so cool if he had white eyes, but him having pupils totally changes it. It makes it terrible for me. So that there are things that I might find a problem that other people might not find a problem, but that doesn't ruin the movie for me. Like, I could have all these sort of things, but an overall enjoyment of the movie, it was enjoyable. Paul Rudd's funny. Michelle Pfeiffer is a great actress. Jonathan Majors killed it. Like, even Michael Douglas was good. Like, there was nothing bad about the movie. I really can't say nothing about the acting. The story was the story. It was what it was. I mean, people are expecting it to be Endgame or something, or this big epic.
Now, but to their defense, the director did tout this as like an Avengers level film. So I don't blame them for feeling like that, because he did. He hyped it up. I don't blame him for that.
But here's the thing. The people that are complaining about it not being an Ant-Man feeling, that's what he meant. It's not an Ant-Man feeling. It's not just a little side Ant-Man comedy. It does have Avengers level importance, but what people forget is Endgame was a buildup. We built up to Endgame. And when Endgame happened, it was a buildup of all this stuff we'd been seeing and building up to. Captain America picking up Thor's hammer and smashing Thanos would have not been anything if that just happened in that movie. But we saw the buildup. We saw how he budged it a little bit, and we saw how no one else could lift it. And so him doing that had a lot of impact. There was a lot of stuff in that movie that had impact because it was built up to it. This is the first movie of the phase. This is just the setup. So I don't want to, like, it's dangerous to get into condemn the whole phase before we get to the phase, because phase 4, I will admit, was garbage. It was trash. It sucked. And hopefully this is a sign of them having learned their lesson. Feige, as the amount of the content Marvel produces grows, a lot of MCU fans are worried that that sort of golden age ended with Endgame, and that there's just and even though phase 4 following it started the new chapter, the multiverse saga. Its run has become a huge disappointment due to gradually declining quality of the movies, and I think they're just doing way too much. They had 18 fucking projects in the last 2 years. And, as you might expect, among those, among the hit and highly praised projects like Spider-Man No Way Home, there's a lot of negative reviews from a lot of critics. And Feige's saying that, what he said, we want Marvel Studios and the MCU projects to really stand out and stand above. The pace at which we were putting out the Disney Plus shows will change so that they can each get a chance to shine. And basically, he's admitting the fact that they know that they crammed way too much content and it suffered. And so basically, but yeah, no, we are not going to really, we're not going to do anything talk about it, Slade. Don't worry. But no, so yeah. I just say have an open mind, guys. Go watch Ant-Man this weekend. Have an open mind. Don't listen. Just don't even. I haven't seen the Rotten Tomatoes. I refuse to look at them shits anymore. I don't even, after the whole Black Adam thing, I don't even look at that shit until I see the movie because I don't want it to taint my, my mind going in. I want to be completely open-minded. Once I saw the Rotten Tomatoes score that the critics were giving it before any audience had seen it, and that was already turning the way audiences were gonna see the movie. That's just terrible. Like I heard people had never seen the movie talking about, oh, that movie sucks because 58 critics said so. Come on, people. Y'all are better than that. Like, let's come on, grow up. But no, we'll talk about that Monday, y'all. Have a great weekend. Hopefully you guys can get to see it. If not, maybe sit Monday's show out. I don't know because we're gonna talk about it. But listen, if you can't get to the theater, the bootleg is not bad. Okay, it's really not bad. It's really watchable. So if you really have to, you can go to fmovies.com and watch it for free. And the bootleg. If you cannot see it, if you can't get to the theater, here's where you go. Okay, right there, fmovies.to. You didn't hear it from me. All right, y'all. That's our show, y'all. Peace. We'll see you Monday.
Peace.
Peace.